Today we are talking all things penicillin. A penicillin allergy is often diagnosed early in life, usually around the time you probably get your first antibiotics. According to the BC Centre for Disease Control, about 10% of Canadians have a penicillin allergy in their medical record, but less than 1% have a true allergy. To tell us more about the allergy, we have Dr. Amira Ajnarain joining us, who is a pediatric allergist. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
This, I think, was shocking to our staff to hear the possibility that this might not be something that you still have as an adult. So set us up first. What is a penicillin allergy?
Yeah, so I agree completely. It's a very common thing I see in clinic. A penicillin allergy, there's a few ranges of them, but anaphylaxis, which is a severe allergy, is the one we're the most worried about. As you mentioned, less than 1% actually have it. And then you could have delayed allergies where you get rashes and other things like that. So it really depends on how the patient presents, but as you mentioned, very few people actually have the allergy.
That's just wild to me. So how does someone develop an allergy like this?
So the interesting thing is most of the time, it's not the antibiotic itself, it's actually the infection that you have. So people think, oh, I took this antibiotic, I got a rash, it must be the antibiotic. But most of the time, 80 to 90%, it's actually the infection. So you don't actually have the allergy in the first place.
I think that can be really startling for parents, especially when you take your child. It's like so often you have an ear infection, you take them to the doctor, you get some sort of antibiotic like amoxicillin, and then they get this horrible rash, and that can be very scary.
Exactly. And so as a pediatric allergist, it's one of the most common things. And so I work really hard at delabeling it. So most of the time, as you mentioned, they don't actually have an allergy, and 80, 90, even +%, it wasn't because of the antibiotics, so they outgrow it really quickly.
So how do you know then if you've outgrown it? Because that, you get the label, you get, okay, now I have to take a different sort of antibiotic. How do you then go back and find out for sure if this is something that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so we have different tools in our, toolbox, but the first thing is we can do intradermal testing, so it goes under the skin and we actually see if you react. But most of the time nowadays, we actually go direct to what we call an oral challenge. You come into the clinic, I literally give you amoxicillin in your mouth, and we wait and make sure you don't have a reaction, and then you go home. So it's actually painless, and you don't have to keep writing amoxicillin allergy forever.
Is that something that's scary for patients?
Not really, actually. When I explain to them exactly this, that most of the time it's actually not the antibiotic itself, you don't actually have this allergy, and you're under a supervised setting in my clinic, they're actually very excited to be like, okay, I don't have to write this in my allergy section anymore.
So if you're sitting at home and you're listening and you've grown up your whole life thinking, okay, I have a penicillin allergy, what do you say to those people who are listening?
I would say go to your family doctor or your general doctor and say, refer me to an allergist. I likely don't have this. I don't want to continue avoiding something I don't need to.
And why is that important? Why could you, is it, if you're listening and you're thinking, well, I don't want to do that, and maybe I don't have a GP, is it fine to just presume I have the allergy and continue on like that? Why would you want to check?
I think I'm biased, but I don't think it's okay because penicillin is a huge antibiotic. It covers a lot of different things. And so sometimes you'll have a bacteria you actually want to use amoxicillin for, and then you're using something that's not as good, and that creates antibiotic resistance. You're causing yourself to have other side effects that you don't need to. So in my situation, I really think delabeling is important.
Well, and I think that the second point on this graphic here that's on our screen says allows better treatment options. We know that amoxicillin works. We know that penicillin works. And so if you're able to take it, it's something that would be a great option for you.
For sure. So I think it's a great idea. I think everyone should get delabeled if they can. And it's pain-free, it's easy, and why not?
I feel like this is one of those conversations. I'm like, I was today years old when I learned that you may not have the penicillin allergy that you think you do. Doctor, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure, honestly. Thanks for having me.
Coming up.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.